Welcome to this quick win on trauma response. Serious incidents don't end when the scene is cleared. They leave impact on victims, witnesses, bystanders, staff, and sometimes on you. A stabbing in a parking lot, a sudden death in a public restroom, a domestic violence call in a residential building, a sexual assault disclosure at a security desk. In those moments, you are not just managing a situation, you are entering someone's worst day. Trauma affects how the brain processes information. When someone experiences violence, assault, or extreme fear, their nervous system shifts into survival mode. Heart rate increases, hearing narrows, logical thinking slows, memory can become fragmented or disorganized. Emotions may not match the situation. One person may cry uncontrollably. Another may appear calm and detached. Someone else may become irritable, defensive, or even hostile toward you. Those reactions are not indicators of guilt, innocence, truth, or deception, or they are indicators of stress. A trauma-informed response starts with your own regulation. Before you manage others, you manage yourself. Your tone becomes steady. Your movements are controlled. You avoid sudden gestures or sharp commands unless immediate safety requires it. You explain what you are doing and why. You create structure in a moment that feels chaotic. Imagine responding to a violent altercation in a commercial complex. Emergency services have transported the injured party. Law enforcement is handling the suspect. The immediate threat has been contained, but witnesses remain on site. Some are pacing, some are demanding answers, others are frozen and silent. This is where professionalism is tested. You secure the perimeter and preserve evidence, but you don't begin rapid, aggressive questioning while people are visibly in shock. You provide simple direction. You're safe right now. We're going to ask a few questions in a moment. You move individuals away from crowds and noise where possible. You slow the scene before you collect the story. You still gather statements. You still document thoroughly. But you understand that trauma affects recall. You avoid accusatory phrasing. You don't fill in gaps for them. You let them speak at their pace while maintaining control of the environment. Now consider a sexual assault disclosure. An individual approaches security and says they need to report something serious. You immediately move to a private area. You limit exposure. You protect confidentiality on radio traffic and in conversation. The person discloses an assault that occurred hours or days earlier. Their account may be fragmented. They may blame themselves. They may hesitate. Your initial response must be calm and neutral. I'm sorry that happened. Thank you for telling me. Right now, you're safe. You avoid questions that imply judgment. You don't ask why they delayed reporting. You don't speculate. You don't promise outcomes. You clearly explain available options: medical care, law enforcement involvement, internal reporting processes, support services, and you allow them to make informed decisions within the limits of your organization's policies and legal obligations. You document facts, not assumptions. You maintain professionalism even if the person becomes emotional, withdrawn, or frustrated. You remember that secondary harm can occur when authority figures appear dismissive, rushed, or skeptical. Trauma-informed response does not mean abandoning enforcement or investigative standards. If there is ongoing danger, you act decisively. If policies require immediate reporting, you comply. If evidence must be preserved, you preserve it. Safety remains the priority. The difference is in how you communicate and conduct yourself while doing so. It also means recognizing that reactions may surface later. Someone who appeared composed during the incident may struggle hours or days afterward. A witness may initially cooperate and later become irritable or withdrawn. Colleagues who respond to serious events may carry stress long after reports are filed. As a security professional, you are often the first point of structured authority after a crisis. Your presence can either stabilize or escalate the environment. People may forget specific procedures, but they will remember how they were treated. Professional security is not only about controlling threats. It is about maintaining order without causing additional harm. It is about calm authority, steady communication, and disciplined restraint when emotions are high. Serious incidents will test your training and composure. Trauma-informed response ensures your professionalism holds under pressure. On someone's worst day, controlled leadership makes all the difference. Thank you for completing this quick win.